On a cold, rainy night in Michigan, 19-year-old Renisha McBride's car slammed into a parked vehicle. Dazed, injured, and suffering from a concussion, Renisha stumbled away from the wreckage, searching for help. Her hand was badly wounded, her thoughts were foggy. And while the full extent of her mental state wouldn't become clear until later, what happened next would leave a community heartbroken and a nation divided.
Hugh living to many message was climbing nation other government for Genuwords. Sometime after the crash, Renisha found herself on the porch of a nearby house. Desperate and disoriented, she began knocking loudly, hoping someone inside would help. Instead, she was met with the barrel of a shotgun.
On November 2, 2013, just after 4:30 a.m., Theodore Wafer made a 911 call from Dearborn Heights, Michigan.
I just shot somebody on my front porch with a shotgun.
When police arrived, they found Renisha McBride lying motionless, a shotgun wound to her head. She was pronounced dead on the scene.
Theodore Wafer claimed it was all a horrible accident. He said he thought someone was trying to break in. He was scared. But as investigators began digging deeper, parts of his story didn't quite line up.
Detectives brought Wafer in for questioning. He seemed nervous, uncertain whether to ask for a lawyer.
Being charged? Should I have a lawyer here?
But he never clearly invoked his right to counsel, so the detective pressed on. Wafer explained that he heard loud banging, thought someone was trying to break in, and grabbed his shotgun.
According to him, he opened the door, startled, and the gun just went off. But something didn't add up.
Here's the issue. Wafer claimed he held the shotgun at waist height, but Renisha was shot in the face. Given his height and hers, the shot could only have struck her that way if he was holding the gun at chest level, aimed directly at her.
This subtle but crucial detail raised a red flag. Was it truly an accident, or did Wafer fire intentionally?
Michigan has a castle doctrine law, which allows residents to use deadly force if someone is breaking into their home and poses an immediate threat. But here's the catch. Renisha never broke in. Wafer opened the door himself and fired at a young woman who may have been confused, injured, and asking for help.
Earlier that night, just before 1 a.m., police responded to a report of a DUI crash involving a disoriented woman who had struck a parked car. That woman was Renisha McBride.
She had wandered off before responders could locate her, and for over 3 hours, no one knows exactly where she went until she ended up on Wafer's porch.
Had first responders found her sooner, she might still be alive. In court, Wafer's story evolved. He and his defense team argued that he intentionally fired in self-defense.
But on September 3, 2014, Theodore Wafer was found guilty on all charges: second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and felony firearm possession. He was sentenced to 15 to 30 years in prison. In 2015, Wafer appealed the verdict. The Michigan Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, and in a surprise move, vacated his manslaughter conviction. Why? Because second-degree murder implies malice, while manslaughter does not. And you can't legally be convicted of both for the same act. Still, in a 2022 resentencing hearing, the judge reaffirmed the original 15 to 30-year term for second-degree murder, calling it fully justified. Wafer's final sentence remains unchanged. What happened to Renisha McBride is a tragic reminder of how fear, bias, and split-second decisions can end a life. Some blame her decision to drive intoxicated that night. Others see this case as yet another example of racial bias, where a young black woman knocking on a door for help was met not with compassion, but with a shotgun. One thing is certain: Renisha McBride's story should never be forgotten.